Okay, I'm hoping that this works this time. All right, I saw a tutorial on YouTube that had to do with embroidery, and I've been using Inkscape and some other software for a while, but Inkscape came out with a cool tool that sort of flew under my radar. Uh, they do have a shape builder tool, but I think when it comes to embroidery and specifically here, Cricut vinyl cutting and that kind of thing, this is really helpful. So, you know, you can layer vinyl, obviously, or paper, that kind of thing, but there's a point where you can get stuff piled up on top. If you have a lot of intersecting shapes, they could pile up too high, if that makes sense. Too many layers in one spot. So, take for example, we have this square here, and if we just wanted to have some text or another shape, let's make an orange. And then we'll go with another rectangle. We'll make that one yellow. So far, we've only got two layers of vinyl, two here and two there. But the problem is when you start getting into really more and more shapes, and perhaps you're going to have um, some text, like I said, those kind of things. So now you want to design, say you're doing like a 50s thing or whatever, and you've got all these things, there's a sunset behind there, and you've got all these shapes. So you're good, and then the more you add, the more the more things that we start to add on here, we can we can get out of control. Anyways, I'm rambling. What the tool is, the flatten tool. So essentially, what you do is you select all of your shapes, all your paths, and you go up to path and down to flatten, or use the shortcut Shift F. But hit flatten, and now it looks like nothing's changed. We have the same number of paths. But look what actually happened. That big shape cut through that shape, this shape cut through that shape, the star cut through all the shapes. So now everything's essentially on the ground. So nowhere do you have any piles of vinyl. It's all been cut out. Now what we used to have to do is to make copies of, see if I wanted to cut this out of this brown shape, I would have to select the two of them and go to path and hit difference, which would essentially cut that shape out of the other shape. But now you lost your shape. So what we had to do was we take this one and make a copy, and then do the subtract, path subtract, or difference, and then you were left with your shape and you got your hole cut. So it's just an extra step, and it didn't affect the ones below it. You'd have to make another copy and do the exact same thing with the shape until you got down to the bottom, to no layers. Um, the other cool thing about this is that um, you don't have to do all the layers. If you just wanted, say, this surfboard to cut through this orange circle, you just select this path and then hold down Control and select see that path, and it's this one, this circle. And you can go back to path and hit flatten. Nothing looks like it's changed, but it's been cut. The other part is missing, and this is still intact. What's cool as well, if you take the example of this shape and this yellow rectangle, um, we can use flatten, and for Cricut specifically, a lot of times when you in some software, when you either make a union or do a difference, it'll take on the color of whatever the shape that was affected. This doesn't do that. So again, we're going to flatten. We've got this shape ready to cut still on its own mat, but now the yellow is cut into two pieces, but it's the same color and it's still attached to itself. So when you load this into design space in Cricut, it's going to put it on its own mat and be essentially attached so that it prints in this orientation. And you can do your registration marks, whatever, and stack all these. But anyways, I just thought it was a great way to design and not have to worry so much about where the shape is sitting in the world. Just create your crazy design, put your text, put all your shapes where you want them, select them all and hit flatten, and then you're going to end up with all the layers that you need when you export this as an SVG to not have piles and piles of different vinyls. It does some really great shapes and a lot less work, a lot faster. So not this video wasn't fast, but I hope that it was helpful. So take care, you guys. Craft on.